What if you could speak English like a pro just by mastering one simple concept? What if you've been using if clauses all wrong? Welcome to the Duo Dialogues, your favorite podcast to level up your English one episode at a time. Now it's time to unlock the power of conditionals, because the way you use if can completely change how smart and fluent you sound. Let's begin.
Have you ever thought, what if you could, express possibilities or regrets a bit more easily? Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into if clauses, conditional sentences. Really key for clear communication, right? Especially in just, everyday talk.
Absolutely. The sources you shared, they really show how often these pop up constantly. So yeah, our mission today is basically to get comfortable using the different types, these if structures, so you can say what you mean more precisely.
Okay, perfect. So just to be clear for everyone listening, what exactly are we talking about with conditionals?
Right. Well, at their core, they're sentences, usually starting with if, that lay out a condition, and then the result. It's how we talk about different scenarios, real ones, imagined ones, even things in the past.
Got it. And there are a few main types we need to unpack. Let's start with the zero conditional. What's the deal with that one?
Think of the zero conditional for stuff that's just generally true, universal truths. The pattern is simple. If plus present simple, like the classic, if you heat water, it boils, or ice, if you heat ice, it melts. It's just a fact.
Right, makes sense. Like if I don't get enough coffee, I get grumpy. A universal truth for me anyway. Okay, what about the first conditional then? When does that one come in?
The first conditional, that's for real possibilities, things that could actually happen in the future. We use if plus present simple, will plus the basic verb. So if this happens, here's a likely result. For example, if it rains later, I'll bring an umbrella. It's a realistic plan for a possible future.
Okay, so that's for things that might genuinely happen. Now, the second conditional, that feels a bit different, more like hypothetical.
Exactly, you've got it. The second conditional is for those unlikely or imaginary situations, present or future. The structure is if plus past simple, would plus the base verb. The key thing is we don't really expect it to happen. Like, if I had wings, I would fly to work. Clearly not real. Or maybe if I won the lottery, I would buy a boat. We're dreaming a bit.
Yeah, definitely picturing a different reality there. Okay, and then the third conditional, that one always feels like looking back, maybe with a bit of regret.
That's spot on. The third conditional is all about the past, how things could have been different. It's if plus past perfect, so had done something, would have plus past participle. A classic example is, if I had studied harder, I would have passed the exam. Looking back, wishing things were different.
Those examples really help clarify the differences. Now let's make this practical. You mentioned the sources focus on everyday use. How about the workplace? Giving advice? Maybe.
Sure. Using the first conditional for advice is common. Like, if you finish that report by 3, you'll impress the boss. Real action, likely outcome.
Okay. Or maybe discussing plans.
Yeah, like, if this meeting runs late, we'll have to reschedule our coffee. Again, first conditional. Possible future event, likely consequence.
Makes sense. Now, switching gears to, say, social chats. How would we use the second conditional for those imaginary what-ifs?
Oh, definitely. You might hear something like, if I could meet any historical figure, I'd choose Leonardo da Vinci. It's pure imagination, right? A hypothetical scenario.
Totally. And the third conditional for those social regrets, like, oops, maybe I shouldn't have.
Exactly that. Someone might say, if I had known she was vegetarian, I wouldn't have made steak. It's looking back at a past mistake and its alternative outcome.
These examples are great. They really show how these conditionals work in actual conversations. Are there common slip-ups people make?
Oh, definitely. A big one is mixing up the tenses, like using will in a second conditional sentence when it should be would, or getting the past perfect wrong in the third conditional. Sometimes people also use the second or third for situations that are actually real possibilities where the first conditional fits better. But honestly, focusing on clear examples like these, that's the best way to avoid those little traps.
Yeah, seeing them in action is key. This has been really helpful, actually, breaking down these if clauses.
Glad to hear it. And once you get the hang of these structures, it really does open up how you can express yourself. Possibilities, regrets, advice, all of it.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for exploring conditionals with us today. Definitely stay tuned for our next deep dive, where we'll keep looking at more ways to make your communication even sharper.